Yeah, so C8, also known as PFOA, has shown up in people's blood all over the world. C8 is part of a large family of chemicals known as PFAS chemicals. They're often called forever chemicals, and they get that nickname because they don't readily break down in nature or in the body. Once PFAS gets in the water, soil, food, or bodies, they tend to persist and they build up over time. They also move through the environment very easily. Studies have now detected PFAS chemicals in rainwater, surface water, groundwater, and even ice samples across the globe, including in remote regions like far from any direct industrial source. Large biomonitoring studies have found that virtually everyone tested in the world has at least some PFAS in their blood. Not because they did anything wrong, but just simply from living in a world where these chemicals have been allowed to spread widely through the environment. In the episode with Callie Lyons, we're talking about a landmark legal case and health study tied to the decades of contamination around Parkersburg, West Virginia, where DuPont was found, according to court documents, to have knowingly contaminated that community with C8. But what's worse is that this is not history or a solved problem. While some of the original PFAS compounds have been largely phased out, especially after those types of lawsuits, they were often just replaced with newer PFAS chemicals that behave very similarly. They still persist and build up in the body and in nature. At the same time, governments continue to issue permits that allow PFAS discharge into air and waterways, and enforcement records and lawsuit documents show repeated cases where even the legal limits have been far exceeded. In other words, this is not a solved problem. PFAS contamination is still happening in real time through ongoing industrial releases and approved uses. So what's in your blood? Likely trace amounts of chemicals associated with increased cancer risk and endocrine disruption that entered the environment because of industrial and regulatory decisions, not just decades ago, but decisions that are still actively being made today. And that's why this matters. What we allow into the environment now helps determine what ends up in people's bodies later. Thanks for watching and asking a great question.